dive. Alright. ABC Company is upgrading its infrastructure to enhance security. The IT team has been tasked with establishing a security baseline for all devices as part of the first step in this process. The team works to determine the minimal security settings configurations for all devices. Which phase of the security baseline process is being completed? It is the establish portion. So you need to establish those baselines before because you mean okay, so you establish, deploy, maintain, establish, deploy, monitor, and then maintain. I think is how that goes. So let's see if we got it right. Yep, establish. So we're good there. No need to do anything with that. On to the next one. Which of the following are potential sources of threats that could be used to propagate malware? Select 3. So things that can propagate malware, removable devices, USBs are bad. Image-based files and file formats. So you can have file formats disguised inside of other files. You can have executable stuff inside of image files, and removable devices are bad. Secure network is fine. Closed service ports, not going to propagate malware. So let's check those answers. And there we go. Which of the following is best described as a vendor assessment method that allows an organization to evaluate the security of vendor systems, applications, or network infrastructure by actively simulating cyber attacks to identify potential vulnerabilities? We're going to take just 1 second. I just need to refresh this and this. That is a little on the loud side, isn't it? That it is. Okay. So let's tune the mic. Oh, I didn't want to mute it. I need to change the settings. Okay. Keep those on silent. There we go. Here, look at that. Which of the following is best described as a vendor assessment method that allows an organization to evaluate the security of a vendor's systems, applications, or network infrastructure by actively simulating cyber attacks to identify potential vulnerabilities? That would be interesting. That's gonna be pen testing. Yeah. Which type of risk assessment is going is ongoing and runs at regular intervals, consistently scanning for new or emerging threats. It's going to be continuous. That would make sense. A company has procured networking hardware from a third-party vendor. The hardware comes with pre-installed software that contains a backdoor introduced by the provider. This backdoor has been exploited by an attacker to gain unauthorized access to the company's network. Which type of vulnerability is this an example? Well, let's look at this a little bit more carefully. Just 1 second here. We got lots going on today. All right, let's see here. So a company procured networking hardware from a third-party provider. So it's not the vendor that gave them the hardware. It's a third party that has given them the hardware. So the hardware comes with pre-installed software that contains a backdoor introduced by the provider. So you have the networking equipment. We'll use this as an example. Hang on a second. So let's say I got this guy from a third party, right? And they installed custom software on here with a backdoor. Naughty provider. Yeah, don't do that. Not kosher. Like dill pickles. Anyways, so with that, the backdoor has been exploited by an attacker to gain unauthorized access to the company's network. So which type of vulnerability is this example? So it's a vendor, but it's not a service provider. Is it a software provider? So it is. So it's not the vendor. It's not the hardware vendor. It's the third party that also supplies hardware. So we're just gonna say it's a hardware provider vulnerability, and that is the correct answer. I know there's a lot to go through, but I wanted to kind of share the logic behind that. So, all right, let's go to the next one. Okay. An organization is evaluating different network infrastructure options to enhance security by logically separating its internal network segments based on organization security policies. Which network infrastructure concept provides the best approach to achieving this goal? So I know that something like this, this would be the first thing that you would go to because it's mentioned in the question. However, and physical networking isn't going to be necessarily what we're doing here, but how VLANs and firewall rules, that is all part of software-defined networking. So we're going to go with C. Air gap network, that's a type of physical isolation that we're not doing. So let's see if I got that right. Oh, that bugs me. That bugs me. So we'll clip this one. We'll clip it, and we'll put that into our study thing here. I have on another screen. I have a notebook LM. Notebook set up for putting my missed questions and answers in. There's also a neat feature here. I can mark this for review, so we're Gucci there. So we'll see how that goes. One sec here. Like I said, there's lots going on today, so I apologize. My lots of distractions. We'll put it that way. Okay, so let's take a look here. So yeah, I flubbed that one. My bad. We'll come back and study that one later. I just want to get through all 259 questions and see where to go from there. Which activity is directly related to vulnerability management? Performing regular backups, developing incident response plans, conducting penetration testing, implementing strong password policies, enforcing access control. So I used to do vulnerability management for a short stint, and let's see here. Your backup. So I'd say that conducting the penetration testing is part of vulnerability management. While the organization that I worked for didn't do it that way, we were involved to take those findings and communicate out to system owners for patching purposes, things like that. So I'm gonna go with that. We didn't do the password policies. That was part of the SOC and identity management. Enforcing access control. We weren't enforcers. We were reporters mostly. Developing incident response plans. That again part of our SOC. Regular backups. That could be part of it. I feel like that's up to the department to manage. We can advise that, hey, you should back up your crap. But we're going to go with conducting pen testing. So let's see what we got. And that was the correct answer. So, yep. So this just tells me that if you're on a vulnerability management team and you are not part of your penetration testing strategy, you should probably reach out to your leadership team and have them or encourage them to let you be a part of that as part of vulnerability management. Even if you're not the ones doing it, even if you're hiring a third party, that's great, but you should be involved in the scope, the rules of engagement, all that stuff. As a vulnerability management professional, you should be part of that. So okay, so we'll go on to the next one. XYZ Corp is implementing new access controls. Implementing a new access control measures to improve security. They want to adopt methods that require multiple authentication factors for user access to allow temporary access to specific tasks. Which of the following measures best help XYZ Corporation achieve their objectives? So let's take a look at this question again. New access control measures to improve security. They want to adopt methods that require basically MFA. So they want temporary access for specific tasks. So enforcing password complexity rules, regular password changes, adopting password solving, just-in-time permissions. So this gets really interesting in here. I would say implementing. Oh, select two. Yeah. So you're going to want MFA and just in time. I'm dumb. I did not. So always pay attention to your question. Very important when taking this exam. Those are going to be the two answers. Yep, right there. So we're Gucci. All right. Let's move on to the next one. Which level of encryption is used to protect an entire storage device, ensuring that all data stored on the device is encrypted? So that is going to be full disk encryption. So you could do volume, but if you're not using the entire device in the volume, and you have multiple volumes in that device, it's not going to do it. So full disk encryption is what you want, and that's correct. You want to specifically protect certain data from being accessed based on a device's physical location to ensure compliance with data regulations. Which security method should the organization primarily focus on to achieve this goal? So you're going to want, because the key word here is based on device's physical location, you're going to want geographic restrictions. You can already be implementing everything else, but the key word is location, so you're going to want geographic restrictions here. Yep. All right. Company needs to identify misconfigurations and other related issues that can be exploited by threat actors. What data source would best provide this information? So a company wants to identify misconfigurations. You're going to be looking for vulnerability scans. I did lots of that. We found tons of misconfigurations in databases and containers and you name it. You're definitely going to want vulnerability scans for that. That was pretty straightforward. 1 second. Sorry. Like I said, there's lots going on today. Wow. Matrix is having a stroke. Sorry for this sidetrack discussion, but yeah, Matrix is having a stroke here. I'm getting notifications from yesterday, from Sunday, all over the place. Not really what I want going on there. Let me see here. Give me 1 second. I'm going to test something real quick. Okay, that's not bad. Okay. So I just wanted to check something quick. Okay. As a security technician, you are looking at multiple strategies to enhance your company's overall cybersecurity posture. Which actions would not contribute positively to the overall cybersecurity of your organization? Yeah. Yeah, so this is probably the tricky one here. Um, Disable application allow listing. That means that you're going to take, if you're doing deny by default, which is what you should be doing, and you gradually allow applications as needed, this is what you're going to want to do. So, and actually, let's just, for funsies, we'll do that. All right. So we got that. Okay. So those are going to be the correct ones. Let's double check. Yep, and that's correct. Let's see here. An organization wants to securely connect its branch offices to the main headquarters. The solution should provide a private and encrypted communication channel over a public network like the internet. What network infrastructure concept is best suited for this scenario? Alright, organization wants to securely connect its branch offices to the main headquarters. So you're probably going to use a VPN for that. Not really much to discuss there. What is enumeration in the context of hardware, software, and data asset management? That is going to be the act of tracking, monitoring inventory of hardware assets throughout their life cycle. Oh, interesting. Hang on. Identifying and categorizing hardware, software, and data assets. So this, because it says data here, it has to have it in the answer. Otherwise, your answer would be incomplete. So we're gonna go with E, and I'm glad I changed. Very key details that you want to pay attention to. Which phase of the incident response process involves taking immediate actions to prevent the incident from spreading further and causing additional damage? That is going to be containment. So if you want to prevent from spreading, you're going to want containment. And that is correct. Which statement best describes a SIM system? A SIM is a software solution that aggregates, correlates security events from multiple sources and provides centralized log management and threat detection. A SIM system is a hardware device. Nope. So it's a physical control. Nope. So it's a network device. Nope. Is an authentication. Nope. So this, yeah, first one is going to be it. Yep. During a routine security audit, the IT team has identified several instances of security breaches due to weak passwords among employees. The audit revealed that many employees were using easily guessable passwords and reusing passwords across regular and administrative level accounts, making them vulnerable to unauthorized access. Naughty, naughty. The company's security team wants to address this critical issue and improve the overall security posture. Which security awareness practice would most effective in addressing this specific scenario? This is gonna be password management training. I don't know if that's actually a thing as part of this, but I'm pretty sure that that's going to be our answer, and that is correct. Yeah. If your organization has not deployed a password management solution, I would highly encourage you to beg and plead and do whatever it takes to get that implemented. You will save your organization potentially lots of headaches. Make sure you enforce the use of it when it comes to various, especially the administrative accounts, things like that. Excuse me. Make sure that we're using some sort of like password vault that even if you have to share passwords because you have multiple users that need to access the system, use a password manager, use a vault. That way it's encrypted, it's stored encrypted, just best practices. Excuse me. Okay. Charlene is data security specialist in ACL Learning's information security management team, configuring Windows 10 workstation in accordance with corporate information security policy. The policy managed workstation should have full disk encryption implemented to protect data at rest. Configure Windows 10 workstation to ensure compliance with an error will display due to limited functionality of virtual environment. Okay, so this basically, what we're going to do is we're going to be looking for BitLocker. Yep, so we're going to manage BitLocker. And yep, so we're gonna want to turn it on. Yep, and so there's no TPM, which is fine, but that's where you would do it. So that's pretty simple, right? We go into the explanation here. That's exactly what we did. We went into BitLocker. We wanted to turn BitLocker on. You should have. Go back here. Oh, BitLocker. Yep, so you got your BitLocker to go for flash drives, and then you got BitLocker for your operating system drive. So that's what you're going to want. So, yep, we are good to go there. As a task question. Okay. Next. Which threat actor is typically motivated by ideological or political beliefs and employs hacking as a means to advocate for social or political cause? So that is going to be a hacktivist. Yep. Pretty straightforward there on that one. Which statement best describes the relationship between CVSS and CVE as they relate to vulnerability analysis? So CVSS and CVE are both scoring. Nope. So CVE is a database of known vulnerabilities, while CVSS is a method for scoring the severity. That's really what we want. Nope. So CVE, common vulnerability enumeration, common vulnerability scoring system. So CVSS is your scoring system. That's the easiest way, I think, to remember that. So let's just double check our answers. Yep, there we go. XYZ Corporation wants to streamline the process of creating and managing access controls for different user roles and groups using orchestration and automation. Which of the following automation orchestration use cases will best help XYZ Corporation achieve the goal? So the goal is what? Streamline the process of creating and managing access controls for roles. So streamline the process of creating and managing access controls for different user roles and groups using orchestration automation. So basically, it's going to be security groups. So if you're in that group, you're going to get your roles based upon that group. So let's just double check that. There we go. Makes sense. Alright. An organization wants to ensure that all data can be retrieved in the event of a disaster. The organization must be able to restore the data to the exact state that it was at a specific point in time. What technique would that be to achieve this goal? So, the organization must ensure that all data retrieved in the event of a disaster. The organization must be able to restore the data to the exact state it was at a specific point in time. So incremental. So as backups, you can incrementally go back in time to that specific point and pull that data. Let's just double check. Journaling? What? Now, okay, so let's look at this from a different perspective, right? I used Garuda Linux for many, many years. It had, ButterFS by default and used snapshots. Now ButterFS is a journaling file system, which is great. And I could go back and restore from those snapshots. So I should have probably used that as an example. Yeah, so I guess we will screenshot this. That was a dumb mistake on my part. We'll put that into my Notebook LM notebook. We'll go to the explanation. So let's take a look at this explanation. The journaling is data source user recorded changes. Continuous log knows a journalist log captures every modification, deletion of data systems. So yeah, there were some details in there. It looked like that we just didn't capture. So we'll snag it. Put that in for studying. Once I go through this whole process, all of these questions once, I'm going to study the ones I got wrong and go from there. So, see how it goes. It's not looking good for me. We'll see what happens. Which of the following best describes the concept of platform diversity in a security architecture? So So this says single, this says consolidate, and this says focuses on using a single. So you're going to use multiple OSs and software platforms to enhance the system resilience and reduce single points of failure. That should be your answer, and that is correct. Which control type includes procedures that document how to onboard and offboard personnel? That is going to be a directive. So it's not a preventative, it's not a deterrent, and it's not a compensating control. This is a directive. Basically, somebody tells you, hey, you get an email from HR, let this person go. You get another email from HR, you know, hey, we're going to hire this person, start getting them, start getting their assets ready. You know, there's a whole process for that. So let's check our answers, and that is correct. Which of the following best explains the overall process of automation and orchestration in user provisioning? Which of the following best explains the overall process of automation and orchestration in user provisioning for secure operations, conducting regular access? Oh my. So here's, I'm just all tangled in wires and cables. There we go. Much better. Which of the following best explains the overall process of automation orchestration in user provisioning for secure applications? So you're going to want to implement role-based access. That's going to keep their scope of their job in the security policies. So, what? That's the second one that's like that I got. Well, okay. There's one to study. My bad. Mark that for review. Come back later and we'll get the summary of all this. So it's not okay. So RBAC does not. So something to keep in mind is when it says, you know, overall process. Overall process is what is important there. Alright, 1 second while we get distracted again. Just keep an eye on things here. My apologies. I need more screen real estate. That's that's part of my problem. I need more screen real estate. Sorry about that. We got, like I said, lots of distractions today. So let's go on to the next one. Which of the following best defines the purpose of an internal compliance audit? To ensure effectiveness of organization internal controls and processes, to assess organization's financial performance. Nope. Evaluate the organization adherence to external regulations and industry standards, potential vulnerabilities and weaknesses of organization information system. So, a compliance audit, internal compliance audit. I feel like there's a lot that could be said. So, definitely not financial, and definitely not a vulnerability scan in any shape or form. But do I have? Hang on a second. I don't have it turned off. Oh, yeah. I apologize on mobile. I did not realize how small that was. We can make this a little bigger, I think. See if we can. Hopefully that's a little bit more visible on mobile. Maybe. I don't know. Can't really go too much bigger, unfortunately. So, trying to help coach and mentor and help people that want to get into the IT industry as a full time gig. I would say it's very meaningful, and it's rewarding and thankless all at the same time. You feel really good when you figure stuff out that just really just boggles your mind. The users don't care. They could care less. They just want their machine to work and move on with their day. So let's do this here. Okay. Which of the following best defines the purpose of internal compliance audit? Yeah, we never did this one. So ensure the effectiveness of an organization's internal controls and processes. Adherence to external. So this gets tricky. An internal compliance audit is going to be based upon your internal processes. Now, those internal processes should align with external regulations and industry standards. But if you can't even begin to examine the external if your internal controls are a mess in the first place. So we're going to go with A, and let's hope that that's right. And of course, my brain decided to logically fuck me over with that one. Thanks for that. So let's grab that, put that into my Notebook LM notebook. We'll get the explanation. So ignore my entire explanation for that, and make sure that yeah, my brain works in really weird and mysterious ways, but as far as this is concerned, this kind of makes sense. Um, you should always be evaluating your organizational policies against industry regulations and standards. If you're not doing that, you'll probably have some issues in some capacity. So we'll come back and mark that for review. I know which one it's going to be in the future, but yeah, we'll study it. An administrator wants to implement temporary user accounts, passwords, and certificates that expire after one-time use or after a period of time. Which of the following would work best in this scenario? Temporary user accounts, passwords, and certificates. So this is going to be interesting. These are going to be ephemeral credentials. So on the fly, as needed. Watch me be wrong. I'm gonna be so mad. Oh, I was right. Woohoo! So yeah, period of time, ephemeral. Think of it this way. An ephemeral key would be your TOTP one-time password key for like the one-time password app. Google Authenticator, Authy, whatever authenticator your of choice is. That's going to be your ephemeral key in a sense. So that's the logic I would use for this here. So ephemeral credentials for a period of time. Whew, that was close. All right. An organization is designing its security architecture and wants to ensure that its critical systems remain available and operational during unexpected disruptions or disasters while focusing on implementing measures to enable rapid recovery and minimize downtime. Which strategy should the organization primarily prioritize to achieve this goal? So, the security architecture wants to ensure that its critical systems remain available and operational during unexpected disruptions. So this is going to be like business continuity, right? You're going to want to have either a virtual environment that mirrors your existing environment, so you can just kind of fail over, but some type of business continuity testing and plan is what you're going to want to have in place. Yep, and that's correct. So. I apologize for the mobile people. I know it is tiny. It is so tiny on the phone. Even if you go to horizontal mode, so you can use your 2-finger pinch to zoom if you want to zoom in. So just so y'all are aware. Just throwing that out there. Excuse me. All right, on with the show. An organization is planning to deploy a network infrastructure that can provide efficient communication between various devices and sensors in a factory environment. The infrastructure should also support real-time monitoring and control of industrial processes. Which network infrastructure best suited for this scenario? So, second. I got, like I said, lots of distractions today. My apologies. Funny business. All right. Let's see here. Why? Wait, hang on. What? Man, why am I listening to this song again? No, we just heard this. There we go. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, guys. There's a lot going on today. A lot going on today. Hang on a second. Let me. All right. Okay, so real-time monitoring and control of industrial processes. So, not virtualization and not cloud computing. You have uh, IoT devices. So, like your sensors. I used to do PLC programming. Not a lot of programming, but I've seen the code. I kind of know how it works. It's a waterfall style, instruction set and all that kind of good stuff. Um, I don't know what ICS is, but I'm still gonna say IoT because if your sensors and conveyor systems are all hooked up into a network, it's still gonna be an IoT. Watch me be wrong. Fuck, I knew it. Okay, so what is ICS? So let's dive into that real quick, because honestly, I'm not entirely sure. It's a good learning experience for me. Let me just capture this into my Notebook LM here quick. We'll mark that for review. Give the explanation here. Alright, so okay, so that's funny is I used to work in a warehouse, right? And when I think of ICS, I was thinking of inventory control system, not industrial control system. So yeah, my brain does really, really, really weird crap, and this is why it is such a struggle for me, because I have so many associations with acronym soup that yeah, just this is problematic. So good thing to keep in mind. We'll see how it goes. All right. Which of the following would best serve as a decoy system that appears to contain valuable files but is actually monitored and isolated from the rest of the network? So this is decoy system, not file. It contains the files. So, and it's not referring to a network that these devices live on. So we're gonna go with Honeypot. That should be correct. Yep, there we go. I feel like we listened to this song already recently too. Give me a sec. My apologies. Yeah, we'll let that go. All right. All right. So we're going to the next. Oh, did I? Oh, I don't remember hitting that. Whoops. Let's ignore my answer for right now. A company security team noticed that one of their employees' accounts has logged in from 2 geographical locations within an impossible travel time. An alert generated by their security system. What type of indicator of compromise (IOC) is most likely observed with this scenario? It's gonna be an impossible travel. Yeah. Could be a concurrent session. But you can do that locally. But from 2 different locations, so the location is going to be your key thing. Yeah, impossible travel. During the vendor selection process, which of the following factors is best described as evaluating potential third-party vendors for their suitability and reliability? It's you're going to do your due diligence. Although service so service level agreement, suitability, reliability. Reliability is going to be their service level agreement. So please be right. Why do you do this, CompTIA? Why? Why do you do this shit? Ugh. I was right the first time. Don't doubt yourself. That's the lesson to be learned today. Don't doubt yourself. Fuck. Balls. Ugh. Okay. Put that in my Notebook LM here. So we'll grab the explanation. It's everything. Alright. Let's go back. We'll mark it for review because I'm a dumbass. And we'll keep going. Let's see here. Where are we at? I think that we're almost at an hour. I might need to. I don't have. This is why I need a better. What does this do? Nothing. What does this do? Also nothing. Yeah, I need to get my. Hang on. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. So yeah, I need to get my Stream Deck set up. It's not, and it's over here, which is really awkward. I need a better setup as a whole. I know. I'm just not there. I've got multiple Stream Deck devices. I just don't have them set up. So yeah. Let's see if we can get to 150 before the hour, and we'll go from there. Maybe not. In the risk management process, which activity involves evaluating the likelihood of potential impact of identified risks to understand their characteristics and significance? The likelihood. So that's going to be risk analysis, right? That's going to be your risk analysis. Yep. In the context of zero trust model, which of the following best describes the concept of adaptive identity? Which of the following best describes the concept of adaptive identity? Defines the secure areas within a network. It establishes rules of accessing secure data sources. Verifies the identity that requires access. So I'm going to say it's going to change dynamically based upon behavior and context. So if the behavior starts to get erratic, you're just gonna disable that account. So that is correct. Which specific procedure involves documenting the steps and guidelines for making modifications to an organization's IT infrastructure and systems to ensure that modifications are implemented in a controlled and secure manner? So that's going to be change management. None of these other things really make sense in that concept, so that's going to be, yeah. Sorry, there wasn't really much to explain on that one. A group of cyber criminals with extensive resources and sophisticated capabilities launches a targeted cyber attack against a financial institution with the primary motivation of financial gain through unauthorized funds transfers. Welcome aboard. Or not. That happens sometimes. Which group of cyber criminals with extensive resources and sophisticated capabilities launches a targeted cyber attack financial institution primary motive through unauthorized funds transfers? So that is going to be cyber with extensive resources. So extensive resources could be organized crime. Um, Sophisticated capabilities. I feel like that's going to be nation state though. It says cyber criminals, so let's do that. And that's right. So good thing I paid attention. Did not change. Did not doubt myself. Again, don't doubt yourself. I do it all the time. Let's see here. We got 6 more left, and then I think we're going to wrap it up here for a little bit. During a routine security view, it was observed that some employees in the organization have inadvertently misunderstood data by using personal USB drives to transfer files. Poses significant risk of data leakage. The company's IT department wants to implement security awareness training and address this issue. Proper data handling. Which security awareness practice would be? This is going to be removable media and cable training. More than likely, yeah. A large org with a dedicated experienced IT staff wants to improve its network security by implementing technology that allows the examination and control of traffic at layer 7 of the OSI model. Specifically, the organization wants to enforce granular security policies based on specific applications, user activities, and content. So that's going to be a next-gen firewall. If you're talking about any layer 7 traffic, that's next-gen firewall. And that is correct. Okay. Oh, let's get our VM here. James, security analyst for ACI Alerting, wants to ensure that all files are encrypted. He's asked for help. Windows Network Station. Start, select run tpm.msc. You can do it in the start run dialog. You can type it in this. There's so many different ways to do this. Where does it tell you to turn on? It is in the make sure it's turned on in the BIOS. So yeah, you're gonna turn that on in the BIOS. TPM is always a hardware module. So oops, what are we doing here? Why does it do that? It just doesn't. Yeah. It's just been over an hour. Alright, so that was pretty easy. We'll validate, yep, in the BIOS. An organization wants to enhance its network security by ensuring that only authorized devices can connect to its network infrastructure. They also want to prevent unauthorized access to devices with a spoof MAC address. Which network security measure would best address these requirements? So let's see here. An organization wants to enhance device, ensuring that only authorized devices can connect to its network infrastructure. So authorization, not the same as authentication. So you have a web application firewall, next-gen firewall, and 802.1x authentication. do it at the... I'm fighting with myself here, but the next gen firewall is going to be able to do all layers of the OSI model, where a WAF or 802.1x doesn't really touch that. 802.1x is a authentication protocol for yeah. So let's show the answers. Son of a bitch! I was right the first time. Shit. I didn't know that 802.1x dealt with MAC addresses, and that's probably what my issue is. So let me put this in here quick as a study reminder. We'll grab the explanation. We were on a roll too. Bugger. Mark that for review. So close. During the investigation, an incident response team is examining data sources to gather information about potential security breach. The team needs detailed information about the activities occurring within an OS to track user actions, authentication attempts, and system events. Which of the best is going to need information. So, you're going to want endpoint logs. So it's going to show all the OS, the user actions for that endpoint. Within an OS. Yep, so that's going to be endpoint logs. Yep. One more to go after this. Your organization has multiple offices in several countries worldwide. Frequent email communications, sensitive records, information occur between the offices. You need to recommend a best practice for securing sensitive email content. You are probably going to want S-MIME. Yeah. It's the only one I knew that was related to email, so. And last one here. Which threat actor is characterized by being an external entity with the primary motivation of causing disruptions and chaos for personal satisfaction? Yeah, that's going to be an unskilled attacker. Just a script kiddie going out there wreaking havoc. So, alright, and with that, we are going to pause for now. I'm going to have to end the stream. I'm going to go have a snack and kind of get myself back together. We might come back on in a little bit. If maybe not, we'll see. But thanks to everyone who joined. I appreciate it. And we'll catch you next time.